Welcome to Pacific Northwest Urbex. You and I today are going to take a tour at Three Rivers Mall located in Kelso, Washington. Three Rivers Mall is an enclosed shopping mall located in Kelso, Washington that opened to great fanfare in 1987 on the site of a former golf course. The site is located along Interstate 5. The opening brought a variety of new stores to the area and also the relocation of others such as Sears, JCPenney, and the Bon Marché. Previously owned by General Growth Properties, the mall was one of 30 malls that spun off into Rouse Properties in 2012. Rouse was acquired by Brookfield Properties Retail Group in 2016. In July 2019, Brookfield sold the mall to Arizona-based Three Rivers Village LLC. Currently, the mall has 3 out of 4 anchors, which are JCPenney's, Sportsman's Warehouse, and Regal Cinemas. Its original main anchors were the Bon Marché, which became Macy's and closed its store in 2017, Sears, which closed their doors in 2013, and the Emporium. They also closed back in 2001. And of course, JCPenney's, which is still open to this day. Three Rivers Mall's struggles began in 2001 was with the closure of Emporium. Emporium, more formally known as Troutman's Emporium, was a chain of department stores founded in 1955 by Dallas Troutman in North Bend, Oregon. After 1977, Emporium's headquarters was located in Eugene, Oregon. At its peak, Emporium operated at least 34 stores in Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, California, and Washington. The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2002 and liquidated. The last store closed in 2003. The former anchor space of Emporium would house such things as a Halloween store, auto dealership, a church, and as an event center over the years. It would end up being redeveloped for the Sportsman's Warehouse and opening its doors in July 2014. In 2012, the mall would be delivered another fatal blow to its anchor lineup. Sears announced that it would be closing its store in January 2013. The Sears store would be demolished later that year. The former Sears space would be replaced with a new 12-screen Regal Cinema, in which would open in 2015. The new Regal Cinemas replaced the Three Rivers 5 theater that was located on property as a freestanding theater. It would close on January 11, 2015, in which it had been operated by Regal Cinemas since 1998. The prior history includes ownership by Cineplex Odeon, who first opened it back on December 8, 1989. Cineplex Odeon merged with Act 3 Theaters in August of 92. And it became Regal Theater after being bought in 97 by KKR, the Wall Street buyout firm. Regal was then merged with Act 3 Theaters and United Artists Theaters to create Regal Entertainment Group. The reason for the closing was the opening of the new 12-screen Regal Cinema. Breakdown. stores would follow the departure of Sears, some of which would be Radio Shack, KB Toys, Sam Goody, Big 5 Sporting Goods, Fred Meyer Jewelers, and Mr. Formal. Chuck E. Cheese itself would also close following Sears on April 7, 2014. It was announced on September 2014 that Planet Fitness would be moving into the former Chuck E. Cheese tenant space plus some additional tenant spaces. The Planet Fitness held its grand opening on January 2015 and is still open to this day. As the mall continued to move along, another mall anchor was about to leave, and this was Macy's, which was the former Bon Marché. The Bon Marché was a Seattle-based department store with mall anchors throughout Washington and the surrounding states. In 1990, the Bon Marché ended up under the ownership of the Federated Department Stores, which also owned Macy's and Bloomingdale's. In 2003, the Bon Marché would be rebranded as Bon Macy's. In 2004, the store name would ultimately be called Macy's. Macy's announced back in 2017 that 68 of its stores would be closing, in which the Macy's at Three Rivers Mall was on this list and would finally shut its doors in January of that year. Through all of the hardships of Three Rivers Mall, it continues to remain open. The Kelso Library moved its main branch into the mall in 2011. The mall inline stores comprise mostly of local retailers and pop-up shops, which fill a portion of the mall to this day. The former Macy's anchor has housed other retailers in the past, but currently sits vacant. JCPenney's is the only original anchor store that has remained open since the opening of the mall back in 1987. mall food court also has several pop-up restaurants. The one fun fact is that the Food Network filmed an episode of Food Court Wars inside the mall. The episode titled Café Gourmet vs. Pressed originally aired on March 30th, 2014. The winner of the contest received a year of free rent inside the food court. Café Gourmet won the contest and opened for business in April of 2014. However, citing a lack of foot traffic, Café Gourmet closed in September 2014, and the owners have since opened a restaurant in Portland, Oregon. The day of my visit was before most stores were open, so yes, the mall does appear more dead than it actually is. It's obviously that it would not be as busy as its former self, but it's still hanging on. Would this classify as a dead mall? Well, in a way I'd have to say it depends. Let's think outside of the box for a moment. Yes, it is dead as a traditional mall while not being fully occupied with name brand stores that we're accustomed to. Even though there are some empty tenant spaces, a lot of the other spaces are filled with pop-up shops and etc. The mall has just found a different way of doing business, and it's still mostly retail for the most part. The mall lost its traditional sense of a mall, one may say, many years ago. But you have to hand it to the mall's management team in keeping local businesses occupying these spaces for all these decades to keep the doors open. To me, I see this as a perfect place to shop local. I do think supporting local businesses is important. If you're ever in Kelso or Longview, you can drive about 45 minutes south to Vancouver, Washington. You'll arrive at the Vancouver Mall, which is thriving very well. Vancouver is much more populated than Kelso, Washington, so the population has hurt the Three Rivers Mall over the past few decades. Also note, Vancouver is just a stone throw away from Portland, Oregon, which also has helped the Vancouver Mall. Also, Oregon is right across the Columbia River from Vancouver, and Oregon doesn't have any sales tax, so it could be enticing for most people to travel to Oregon for shopping. I don't see any major redevelopments in the next few years at the Three Rivers Mall, as Kelso and Longview have been hit hard over the past 30 years with the decline of the logging industry, in which these towns many years ago thrived with jobs in the logging industry and paper mills. Thank you for coming with me today to the Three Rivers Mall. It's a great retro mall that we just don't get to see that much anymore, and for that, it was awesome. You can follow PNWX here on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Have a great day.